If you're curious about adding different streams of income, but you're skeptical whether this will be worth your time, whether it's realistic with a full-time job, or whether some of these methods are even legit. And spoiler alert, there are so many scammy things in this how to make money online genre. I get it. I'm with you. I've worked in healthcare for over a decade now, and it's only really been the past 3 years where I've put in some serious effort to adding different streams of income. In this video, I'll walk through what my 9 income streams are, and for each one, I'll share my honest experience about what that experience has been like thus far building that income stream, how difficult it is to get started and maintain, and how much you can make, and whether I plan to keep doing it. Income stream number 1 and 2 are both real estate investments. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I have a local long-term rental, and I also have a beach house in Florida that we set up as an Airbnb. I also hosted our backyard tiny house on Airbnb for a little while, and it was actually quite successful. Let's first talk about the difficulty of doing this on the side. In the initial stages, it was a pretty steep learning curve. From complete beginner stage to obtaining our first rental property, it took us about 5 months to learn and do all the steps in analyzing and offering and actually getting that property set up and finding a renter. Similarly, for setting up a short-term rental, there is a new set of skills there to learn as well. As an ongoing thing, the difficulty definitely goes down. It's very doable as a side hustle. We don't have a property manager for either of the properties, and on average, I'd say we spend maybe 2 to 3 hours a week on this. Of course, the time requirement fluctuates week by week. Last week, just like today, there was a storm, so we had to go investigate a tree which had a branch that was touching the power line. And then at the same time at the beach house, we've recently set up direct bookings, and a booking request came in that kind of looks scammy and the payment didn't go through. So it took a little bit of looking into stuff to figure out, is this legit? Is this a scam? What is going on? Overall, last week was a little busier. But there are also weeks where I don't do anything at all besides maybe send a couple messages to our guests. Income-wise, each property brings in about $5,000 to $10,000 a year. And keep in mind, this only counts the cash flow of the property. I'm not counting the appreciation, the loan pay down, all the other benefits that are investment benefits. Just literally counting how much cash accumulates per year in the bank account. Overall, I think this is a solid supplemental income stream and a great long-term investment. I've learned a ton through this investing journey, and that's the thing that I really want to highlight. The knowledge part of this is really scalable. My goal is to keep going and slowly build up this income stream over time so that it can actually be reliably paying for a part of my expenses. If you want to know more about a comparison between long-term rentals and short-term rentals, they each have their pros and cons, and I recently did a video where I did a deep dive on all the numbers that I have on each property, and I'll link that below in the description. Income stream number 3 is my W-2 job as a pharmacist. I know this is not why you're here, but hear me out. I want to set the stage that this is still my primary source of income. I don't like how in this passive income / side hustle genre of the internet, people don't often talk about how investing in your career can actually reap really good rewards. And for a good chunk of your working life, your W-2 is actually one of the more powerful earning tools that you have. Financially speaking, this is what I've built most of my life with. The difficulty to get started, specifically for pharmacists, but I think this probably applies to a lot of other professional gigs, is the length of the schooling and the residency and the tuition for said schooling. But on a day-to-day, honestly, the most difficult part is just physically having to show up and be at a specific place at a specific time. The work itself is actually quite enjoyable. If you're not familiar, it's a little bit like solving abstract puzzles in a gray area with missing pieces quietly. I don't think I sold the idea, but trust me, it's an INTP dream. I have good coworkers, I have an awesome boss, I get to take on projects that I vibe with, but also not be obligated to do anything that I don't want to. Like truly, I can't really complain. I think the only thing I want to do more of is have that time flexibility so that I can pick up my kids and drop them off at school, sit in on their piano lessons and see how they're progressing, and personally get to challenge myself with creative projects that I can fully control without all the rules and limits and all the death by committee that's so common in the healthcare world, or the occasional egotistical maniac that needs to butt into every project. But hey, that's why I built the other income streams. Income number 4 is consulting as a pharmacist. And I had no idea this was even a thing until I was contacted by a health media company to serve as a guest medical reviewer for some of their patient-centered articles. The company itself, they have their own writers, editors, and people who research topics to create these articles on patient education materials, but they are not medically trained people. So they find medical reviewers like me who are actively practicing and could correct them for accuracy and make sure everything is up to date with the current evidence. From my perspective, it's super easy to just quickly review a patient-centered article on something like what to know about statins. It doesn't take me very much time and I get paid per article, which is great. The media company also benefits because they don't have to hire a full-time medical team. They can just pick and choose based on whatever article matching with whatever expertise they're looking for. And I think consumers of this health content also gets a win too. Like 9 times out of 10, I have something to edit on these articles in the first draft. The downsides are A, I only get a handful of articles per month, so this is not something that I can pay my mortgage with. And B, if you're looking to get started in something like this, I honestly don't know what advice to give you. They reached out to me, so I think maybe at Baseline have a LinkedIn profile and be like searchable and discoverable on the internet. I don't think this has to do with me having a YouTube channel. This is more about my pharmacy expertise. You can also look for opportunities like this by looking up health media companies and see if they have something called a medical review board. On broader terms, the lesson here is whatever field you are in, someone out there wants knowledge of that field. You may think it's your boring, basic old day job, but someone else, they would be happy to pay for your insights. Moving on to income stream number 5, YouTube. The ads that show up in the beginning or in the middle, first of all, it doesn't really matter as much whether you skip them. I think I still get a cut to some degree. So don't feel bad if you are skipping ads. I think it's more important that you're enjoying your viewing experience. But anyway, those ad spots are paid for by advertisers. Google takes a 45% cut and I get 55% of that revenue. How much I end up making from ad income depends on the length of the video. Obviously, the longer the video, the more ads there may be. It depends on the topic or niche. So like personal financy videos seem to do better than something that's more general and lifestyle. It also obviously depends on the number of views, the location of the viewers, and even seasonally. Advertisers generally have more spending that they can do at the end of the year. Averaging out the past few months, this has provided an extra $800 to $900 per month, for which I am so grateful. I honestly did not expect this amount of money per month just from ad revenue within a year of getting monetized on YouTube. This funding has helped me with a camera upgrade. It's allowed me to outsource some of my video editing so that I get more time to develop good content. It helps cover my expenses for the software I use for making thumbnails, the email service that I use to send out my free calculator. I'm all for investing back into the channel, and honestly, most of this money that has come in from ads, I've just kind of kept it aside to be used for the channel only and not really relied on it as an income stream that can fund my general life expenses. The difficulty in getting started was high. If you're considering doing this as an additional income source, I'm not gonna lie, this takes a lot of upfront work without a guarantee that this will pay off. My first 8 months on YouTube, I was not receiving any of the ad revenue, so it was completely a time investment while crossing my fingers. There's certainly a snowball effect as the channel starts to gain traction, but it still takes a lot of ongoing maintenance. I still have to put out new content and new issues crop up that I never knew was gonna be an issue at all. For example, my latest thing is getting all these inbound emails from video editors, from people who help people make courses and sell courses, from people who want equity in other people's channels, and from random brands that really have nothing to do with the topics I cover. I got an email from like a wig company, like, this is real hair, guys, like what the heck? But there are brands that spam email a bunch of influencers and hope they do a gifted exchange for content. I guess I just never foresaw that I would be sifting through random emails to look for the genuine messages from you guys, which I absolutely love receiving, so please keep sending them, or the emails from brands that I actually use and love and would like partnering with. Overall, though, the experience has been really positive and rewarding and fun. Like, I love hearing from you guys what resonated with you. And I think it confirms my original why of starting this channel, that there has to be more people just like us who are doing all these things on the side, but not really letting it take over our lives. There's this balanced and healthy view towards investing, towards side hustles, people who are level-headed and non-scammy, and just overall good humans. Anyway, I do recommend having a YouTube channel if you're curious about starting one. Just know that it's hard and be prepared to commit like a year's worth of time to really try it out. Income stream number 6 is brand partnerships. Just like in today's video, we're actually partnering with Magic Mind. I've mentioned these Magic Mind mental performance shots before. It's a nice pick-me-up that I've incorporated into my afternoon routine to get me a little boost in energy and keep me focused. It's just so convenient in these little bottles. It tastes really refreshing, and I actually need to order more because my husband is onto the same routine as well. Use my code below for an additional discount, and thank you to Magic Mind for partnering with me on this video. Okay, should I open it? Let's open it. Cheers. I collaborate with brands like this to showcase things that I already use and love. It could be a product, it could be a service, and it works out extra well when the brand's intended clientele overlaps with the audience that is already watching my videos. Income-wise, I can't tell you exactly how much I make from these brand deals because that's part of the signed agreement to not tell. But for most content creators, they usually make more from brand partnerships than YouTube ads. I actually like doing some of these because we've established that we can't really live off of YouTube ads alone. And as far as other ways to monetize it, we're talking either going into paid courses, which then means there's some level of gated content that is saved to be in this paid course. Some people do memberships with exclusive content, which again goes back to having a paywall that separates a certain better content. Some people monetize by offering coaching. By contrast, brand partnerships actually keep the most amount of good quality content out here on the internet for free. And it's the most transparent that it is a paid promotion. Like here, it was fully disclosed that this was a partnership with Magic Mind versus when you're trying to sell a course, you don't say this video is sponsored by my course. That doesn't make any sense and no one says that, but you are going to make promotional material to get people to sign up for the course, which I think is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with promoting a valid course that is actually bringing people value. And there are so many good courses out there. I'm not anti-courses, by the way. I think the main things that give me pause are like separating the gated versus free and accessible content, especially if both are in video format, just like a YouTube video. And the second more important piece is that it is a slippery slope to whether your entire channel and all of the content that you put out becomes a giant sales funnel to that course. There are definitely ethical ways to do this, and there is really so much value in learning from people who have actually done the thing that they're teaching. And again, I am not anti-courses. This is just me going down a rabbit hole in my head. I will stop now. Back to brand partnerships. Difficulty-wise, assuming you have already established an online presence, which was really the bulk of the work, this part is maybe medium difficulty. There is new things to learn about terms and contracts, how much to charge, negotiations. It's still kind of an ongoing learning curve for me to understand that literally anything is negotiable, but I found this learning process really enjoyable and really rewarding. Income stream number 7 is also related to creating content, and that is affiliate marketing. When I mention something in the video and I leave a link in the description below, some of those links are affiliate links. And when you click on them and make a purchase, or for some of them, just sign up for a free account, I get a percentage of the sale or some sort of a commission. On a month-to-month basis, it's a pretty small amount because not everyone clicks on these links, and I totally understand. If you're one of the ones that use my links, I truly appreciate it. The small amounts still add up. There are months where I've had a few dollars, and then also months where I've had a few $100s. Difficulty-wise, this is very low. I just find the links, leave them there, and then the rest is pretty much passive. Number 8 is consulting for vacation rentals and real estate investing. Sometimes people have wanted to get on a call to ask some more private, personalized questions to get some specific guidance on a specific thing. This has been a very infrequent activity that I found surprisingly enjoyable. I think it is gratifying to be able to give tailored responses one-on-one and be helpful that way without worrying about what I say and the different kinds of people who might come across my content on the internet and how I might sound, whether they would get it. I don't want to be misleading or come off a way that I didn't intend. It's definitely easier to connect one-to-one, and I also just really enjoy meeting some of you guys and understanding where you're at and just have a conversation off camera. I've done a handful of these on request, but I also don't really intend to scale them because there is a limit to how many people I can or want to talk to. And I also don't want that to take away from the time that I can spend on making these YouTube videos for everyone to enjoy for free. All right, number 9 is interest income. This one kind of feels like a cheat because I'm not doing anything. It's literally just money sitting in a bank and there is some interest. But hey, it is reported on my tax returns. I do get taxed on this money. And so yeah, I'm going to include it. Difficulty wise, this is the easiest of them all. And I highly recommend having a bank account with a place that has a solid interest rate. For personal monies, I use Ally, and then for business monies, Relay, Baselane, and Stessa all offer a reasonable interest rate. If you're still here, first of all, thank you. And secondly, I want to end with a piece of advice that I haven't seen articulated by anyone else to my liking. To generate income as an output, you're inputting something. It could be time, it could be capital or expertise, or a mix of the two or three. Exchanging time for money is not inherently bad. Like if you have a really well-paying job that you love, that you would do even if they didn't pay you as much, then cool, keep on keeping on. It's just that of these three inputs, time is the only non-renewable resource. If you can find a way to leverage the other two, capital and expertise, efficiently, you could generate the same output or more with less of your time. Time that could be better spent on vacation without having to ask somebody for PTO, time that is afforded by a flexible schedule so that you can go in the middle of the day to your preschooler's graduation where they sing a little song and they get a little diploma. The funny paradox and why I think a lot of people are skeptical about building these side hustles and different income streams is that figuring out how to leverage expertise and capital efficiently takes time. You have to invest time upfront to free up future time. After this super long preamble, my advice is to 1, choose very wisely where you're investing your time. Do you have existing skills? Like for us, we were interested in design. We have always vacationed with Airbnbs for the past decade. That gave us an advantage to lean on when we started doing short-term rentals. Is this a journey you would enjoy? In the worst case scenario, if your time investment results in no returns, would you have at least learned something? Would you have at least enjoyed yourself? Time investments that can't grow over time, like picking up DoorDash, don't do it. Or even in my example, consulting. Even though it allows me to leverage my expertise for a higher amount of dollars per my time, I'm still gonna just limit that to up to what feels right and feels rewarding and enjoyable, because that is not going to free up future time. And so I'm not gonna choose to prioritize it. Advice number 2 is to predetermine what counts as a solid attempt and when to stop. If you're starting YouTube, you can say 50 long form, reasonably quality videos in a year, and if by the end of it there is no clear path to being monetized, then maybe it's time to reassess. This way, you know what kind of time you are going to budget for this attempt, what the milestone is, and be able to cut your losses if this turns out to not be right for you. Obviously, don't also be like jumping from one shiny thing to the next. Have a plan, stick with it. But also understand not everything works out every time, and not every side hustle is going to be worth your time. My third and most important piece of advice is to not lose sight of the present. I know, super cheesy, but if your end goal is time, like so many of us embarking on the same side hustle, side income journey, be mindful of what kind of time you're putting in upfront. Like I'm personally willing to use most of my free time and just optimize the efficiency so that I have more time to work on this, but I will never build any business, any side income stream on family time. Figure out what are your priorities and make sure you won't look back 10 years from now and regret missing important moments of your life that really you can't get back. On that serious note, comment below what income streams you've built or what you're working on. Some of the stuff that I'm doing today, honestly, I had not heard of even 5 years ago. So I'm just genuinely curious what else real people like you do on the side. I hope you enjoyed this really long video. Thank you again to Magic Mind for partnering with me, and make sure to check out their link below. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye!